Hey my friends, welcome to UltraFit65. My name is Craig, I'm 65 years old, and today is Handstand Day. I've been doing handstands for 50 years. Today, come join me for handstand tutorial. I love handstands. Let's get started. There are 4 areas in the body that are important to give a little warm-up so that they can be happy when we're doing our handstands. We'll just go working straight up the body. We'll start with the wrists. Think about your handstands. They're all resting on these 2 tiny places. So what we want to do is make sure that they're very warmed up. I've been doing handstands for 50 years, and I think the reason I can still do them is because my wrists are happy. So I like to circle them. You can either hold them or not hold them, doing both sides. And I'm going a little faster than you should probably go, just so I can show you the time frame. Also, this is a wonderful one. So I'm applying pressure. I'm going from a 90 degree back up to straight. And then I'm going to do it the other way, putting a little pressure here and coming up to straight. So I'm really, when I warm up the wrist, what I'm really doing is I'm warming up the forearms. The last one is I take my hands and I bring them next to my body, and I'm trying to have the fingers point back towards me. And then I rotate a little bit forward, all the way to straight, almost to a handstand position where your hands would be, and then move them back again. The last one is to just rotate forward. So the back of my palms, the back of my hands are on the mat, and this is very soft. You're not applying a lot of pressure. Let's move up the body. Shoulders. Let's rotate. So rotation. As I said, I'm going a little faster than you should go, just so I can show you in the time frame. Arms out, hands low. Then just a simple dropping of the hands, lifting of the elbows, lifting hands, dropping elbow. What you're doing is you're working the shoulder socket. You can also do this. This works too, but you're not going to fly. Not yet. Moving up to the neck. Circling the neck. Clockwise, counterclockwise. And then finally, we'll do a simple tricep exercise. So raise the hand up overhead, bend at the elbow, bring the other hand up, grab your elbow, and apply some pressure. You'll feel it. As you're pulling, you'll feel a nice stretch in your tricep, in your shoulder. We'll do the other side. Arm up, bend, reach across, pull. Feels nice. So now we're ready to move forward. Next, it's time to warm up the muscles, the arms, the triceps, and also to activate the core so that we have a strong body when we're doing our handstand. This is what I like to do. I like to come into a plank, and I like to do circles. Starting clockwise, and then counterclockwise. It's not a big movement, but you'll feel it. Then I push back into a down dog. And if your heels don't touch the floor, don't worry about it, just bend your knees. The idea is to get and lift the lower back in the air. What you're doing is you're warming up your lower back. If you can, try to get the heels to come down to the floor. This will stretch out the back of your legs, your hamstrings, your calves. And then if you can do this, or even if you're up on your toes, just rocking a little side to side. And then come forward again and come out a little ways past your hands.
What this is a good deltoid warm-up. Push back again into your down dog. You can do those a few times. I'm just showing those for demonstration purposes. The next is for core. Handstands use a lot of core muscles. So here we go. The best one that I found is, okay, you start off laying on your back, lift your feet off the ground, point your toes, lift your chest off the ground, and here I am. This is my core position. I'm gonna rock forward and backwards. I'm activating my core. My legs are tight. This is, if I go like this, put my hands up here, drop my head. This is your handstand position. So there's one more that I want to show you. If you have yoga blocks, or you can use a yoga mat, you can use a cushion. What you want to do is situate your shoulders on the block and position the front block to where your heels are on it. Now watch what happens. I lift up and then I can reach my hands overhead, drop my head. This is a very good handstand position. I'm warming up my core. I'm practicing the actual handstand position. And then relax, come back down. And you can do that a couple times. And what that's doing is that's training your body so that when it gets upside down, you feel strong.
Now we're ready for floor and wall progressions, but before we get started, I want to show you hand positioning. I think it's really important. I like to turn my wrists out, my hands out just slightly. I'll show you. In about a position like this, about shoulder width apart. And the reason I do that is because it gives me a little bit more space when I come forward with my shoulders. If I had my hands straight and I came forward, there'd be discomfort in this part of the wrists. So having the hands turned out, allowing oneself to come forward, gives one a little bit more opportunity to experiment with their handstands without any discomfort in the wrists. The first floor position that we'll explore is a down dog position. So we're going to get into a shortened down dog, come up on our toes, and come forward. My shoulders are over my wrists, or maybe just a little bit past. And what this is doing, it's building strength. It's also giving me a positioning for what my handstand will be like. So when I suggest these movements, you can practice by holding them for a couple seconds and then moving up to holding them for 5 to 10 seconds. The next one is we're going to walk up the wall. Our first wall progression. See if you can hold this in a 90-degree position. If you can't, it's okay to bend the legs, shoulders over wrists, be able to see your hands. Hold, if you can, for 5 seconds, and then come down. The third, we move back from our positioning with our hands about a foot. And this way we can walk further up the wall. Walking up the wall, pushing off with my feet, enabling me to have my shoulders over my wrists. That's the most important thing. Breathing. You'll see this is a challenging position. And then coming down. Now we're ready to start kicking up against the wall to do a handstand. So I'm going to start with my hands back about a foot away from the wall. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you kind of the progression of kicking to be able to come up against the wall. So my left leg is springy, my right leg is straight. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to have straight legs.
So this is what the kicking looks like. Spring off the foot, spring off the left, kick with the right. Now we're ready to kick up to the wall. See how smooth and easy that was? Now I'm holding a handstand against the wall, but you'll notice because of the angle, if the wall wasn't here, I would fall right on my back. But I'm still building strength, so you can point your toes and at least practice holding your body as straight as possible. And coming down. The last wall progression is the most important. What you want to do is move your hands up close, somewhere less than 6 inches away from the wall. So here I have my hands close to the wall. Now let me kick up to the wall and you'll see. I'm holding a handstand. I'm resting my heels against the wall lightly, but I can use my fingers and come away from the wall. There, handstand. Oh, back against the wall. There, handstand. Back against the wall. Handstand. Back against the wall. And then coming down, one leg at a time. So that's the progression from the floor to the wall. And if you follow that and you practice that, you'll be doing a handstand in no time. I've taught a lot of handstand workshops, so I've gotten to see a lot of different body types. And what I've noticed most is that people tend to have tight shoulders. And your tight shoulders will cause your body to arch. If you can see this diagram, if I'm doing a handstand, my shoulders are tight, you can see that I'm arched. So what we're trying to do is to get up straight like this. You can't get that way if your shoulders are tight. So I have this wonderful shoulder opener that I'd like to show you. So I'm standing about arm's length away from the wall. I'm going to bring my arms up at a 90-degree angle. They should be no wider than shoulder width apart. And then I start to back away a little bit, and as I'm doing that, I'm dropping my chest. So you can see my shoulder stretching. If you have tight shoulders and you practice this every day, your shoulders will open. And this will give you the opportunity to move from an arched handstand into a very straight handstand. I hope that helps you.
You don't want your handstand practice to end up like a tree falling in the woods. So, I'm going to give you 3 tips on how not to fall on your back while you're practicing your handstands. Tip number 1, it's called a cartwheel down. Let me demonstrate. You take a step with your left hand, left foot comes down, right foot comes down, and you didn't land on your back. Tip number 2 is called the big step. And what it really is just a prevention from going over by making a big reach with one arm. The third tip is called walking out, just as it sounds.
Hey my friends, please subscribe and hit the like button. Where the heck is he going?